Just giving myself a mental countdown. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of the Elite Podcast, hosted by yours truly, Jimbo, True Top 10. Guest starring today, Mr. ComeAsYouAre337, the evil dictator board administrator nobody likes, but still around anyway. I love you, Steve. Just kidding. Second guest star is Wodas, Daniel Quelho, superstar on the ranks, and last but not least, Home on Ice 222, Luke Sklar, fourth on the ranks. He is the pride of Australia. Welcome, guys. We have a lot of stuff to talk about this time around. I know we feared that maybe there wouldn't be a whole lot of activity from usual summer months. It's usually pretty dead, but not this time. July was pretty insane, and we'll get there. So anyway, without further ado, I have created a PowerPoint presentation of all kinds of stuff to talk about, and here we go. Shout outs to Pathfinder for this sweet logo that I'm going to use for the rest of the show. So to start, the last show was on June 20th, so we'll pick up right on June 20th. I don't remember if we covered Silo Agent 1 minute, but if we didn't, if we did, who cares? We'll go for it again. Ace ties Silo Agent 100 after Lockwood was trying for it for quite a few hours. Gets it after his very best run. If you guys ever watch it on the ranks, it's pretty good because Lockwood was talking in the background on his mumble. 101 was a 6-way tie. It takes out 101, which had stood for almost 3 years now, just shy of 3. Luke, why don't you cover this one, huh?
I just want to say for 100, Ace got, I think, 25 101s. And 101 is no joke.
Yeah, that is unbelievable.
Ridiculous time. So to have tied at 20, to duped it 25 times to get 1 minute is pretty insane. Facility secret. Yep.
And Ace might be the only player that can totally destroy somebody else. He got 100, and then Ryan Lockwood went missing for like 6 weeks shortly after that. So shoutouts to Ace.
Yeah, I have faith that Ryan will get back into it though later in the year and try again. He wants it really bad. Anyway, so facility 52. That's a good time, but 51 is definitely doable. Ace has had 51 paces to the Trevelyan part, and then he had bad drive, so 51 is definitely out there somewhere. Cabin's Agent 101, really sick time, like insane time. I got it before Ace, which actually tilted him quite a bit, and I fluked it kind of. So Ace had to grind for it. I think it took him 40 hours or something, and a lot of 102s. But yeah, if you watch that run, it's a great run. Gets a boost like through the drone hole and stuff.
It still was pretty surprising to me that he did wait through. He didn't wait, I guess. That it was 3 years after Mark Russo and David Clemens originally got theirs. It always kind of baffled me how that time was 95 points, and it seems like an Ace level. I don't know. Seems like something he probably should have gotten years ago, but props to him. Finally got it this summer. All right, moving on.
Yeah, he's always struggled a little bit on that level. Just generally, I think he just hates getting trolled by guards. So it's a patience level.
In July, absolutely insane when I went and checked out all of the RSS feed. Man, God, there's a lot of stuff went on. We got a lot of stuff to cover here, so start from the top. Go, Luke, you cover this one.
Yeah, so Bunker 2 Agent 23 was a mark untied. And then Ace really wanted it, I think, and actually started to play for it in July. And he got it after, 30 hours or so. And then Carl, pretty quickly after that, sort of revisited the level, probably feeling like 24 was really bad. And he clutched it on a run where he only had 1 clog. And he got a bait at the late boost as well. So it's a live video. I recommend watching it. And yeah, it's a tier 1 time. And Ace sort of says it's the most insane 3-way time in GoldenEye.
That's why I put that up there, because I definitely remember him saying that. Another 23 Carl got, and at this, to match him, Henrik Norgren also got it as Frigate Agent 23. I'm guessing 23 was popular at that time because we were talking about whether or not that was a 200-hour time or not. Based on, like, if you're super consistent, how quick could you get it? And then after talking about it, of course, these two guys go and they clutch it. So a time that used to elude Luke Sklar's, or not really like elude, but like you used to think it was just this spiritual time, this gateway to greatness. Two more people go and tie it.
Like, yeah, it's 24 is one of my worst times now, and like I've had probably 300 plus fails of 23, so it's I can't deal with it. I've got to get it someday, but it's just a real pain.
Still pretty remarkable that in 2005 when Wouter got it, it's still only a 7-way tie, even with 2 people tying it in the month of July. So that's pretty cool. A testament to Wouter's persistence even back then. Okay. I guess I'll cover this one. Ace goes and posts Silo Secret Agent 108, ending Goose's 109. Goose's 109 was his baby when he got it back in October 09. Especially, it's funny to go back and read the world record discussion posts about it. It was like his proudest achievement of his entire life, and this is a time I wanted to show on stream. So we're gonna move this over here. Oh, that looks funky. And I'm gonna play it. And I'm going to direct the people who are guest starring right now over to the stream. You'll hear the audio there, and then commentate on it as you see fit.
Are we going to hear the soundtrack?
Yes, you will. Get lucky.
There's not much to say, it's just... Actually, there's one thing to say, which is coming up.
Honestly, that bridge looked like he was playing on Agent. That was so sick.
Yeah, with the third room, he warps out of the door, which is a strat that I've never tried, but I think it saves about a second. And then he kind of, I think because of that, the lag is worse up at the pause, the camera. It's like, for him, it's nothing insane, I don't think. It's just a very good run. And a solid 108. Like, 0.7, I think.
There it is. Very, very good stuff. That record was awesome. That time was awesome to watch. There's only a couple of flub-ups in there, but all things considered, that is just... I used to think Silo SA112 was the best record on the ranks back in the dark ages, like 10 years ago, and just inconceivable that Goose got 109, and the lower and lower you get, man, just so ridiculous. I know Goose's like bucket list record now is 107. I like to see him get it. He deserves it, I guess. Anyway, enough of me. Moving on. Luke, I will have you do this one.
Oh yeah, and then Ace got Silo 00 Agent 121. I think this actually happened before SA, or am I wrong about that?
No, it might have.
You're
I
right.
just
I just
typed it wrong.
Okay, yeah. So he used a new strat where he gets he warps the door to the bridge. So normally what happens on what normally happens on Silo 00 Agent for 122 is that we get to the ridge before and a guard opens the door into the crate room for us because we get there at the right time. But then Ace decided to get there faster than that guard would open the door and then warp into it. So it was actually a 119 pace run after that warp, but then he got screwed by Oromov at the ending, and barely got a 121 out of it. So definitely, like, 120 is probably going to happen if Ace wants to get it. 119 could definitely happen as well.
And that's another video. It's another video I have loaded up, ready to go. It's something I want to show off because of the ending. So I'm going to move this over here, and I will play it. There's only 4 videos that are going to be played this time, guys. It just happens to be that we're talking about back-to-back untied. So.
The run up to the walk into the crates is one of the best runs I've ever seen. It's insane, and the fact that he doesn't die is pretty crazy too, because he has one bar going into the end of it. He said he was going to have a heart attack when he paused the camera as well.
So he is human.
Well, because Ace would like hang out and mumble, but he would never actually kind of connect his mic and start talking until he got an untied. It's kind of a running joke. So if Ace ever speaks in mumble, he's probably got an untied.
The accuracy of these upper body shots is just insane. Perfect injury on the guard outside the satellite room as well.
That ending, man.
Yeah, bittersweet time, he says, because it shouldn't be 121, it should be 120 at least.
And that's that. I hate to keep diverting everything to Luke, but he's the train expert, so I'll have you talk about these.
Is Goose in chat? You can talk about these, Goose.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm here now. We're talking about that silo stuff.
No, talking about train.
Click the link I gave you. Okay. The next up on the list was Ace tying train SA-123 and 00150.
Yeah, Ace really wanted those records badly, but you know, at first he was kind of like, "Oh, I'm not going to play for them; they're kind of irrelevant or whatever." And after he got every other world record possible, I guess he's like, "It's time to go for train," and so he did.
Echo. Alright.
This is Ace's degen period.
I got an echo to deal with here. Alright. Alright, Goose, I got your video loaded up here ready for 154. You want me to just show it and then you talk about it? Or you want to talk about it first? Okay then.
Hold on. Goose accidentally deafened and muted himself.
Oh boy.
Yeah, Ace just went hardcore, man. He knew he needed some train records to kind of, no matter how many, you know, one unties he got, he needed to retake train to become the full champion again.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play this vid of your 154. It's your live reaction vid. I dug it up from the archives, and then I'll have you just explain everything after that. The live reaction is just so priceless. Oh, what the fuck?
Well, yeah, when it comes to this 154, I mean, it's just a masterful run. That's all there is to it. Man, I first started grinding for it at my cottage, and it was like perfect grinding conditions. I was just playing all night, you know, 4 or 5 hours a day, No one bothering me, nothing around. I thought I was going to get it in a few hours. I certainly had the potential to get it in like 10 hours or less, and it just didn't happen. So I came home and I grinded for it, and it was kind of a good thing, I guess, because people really enjoyed watching it on stream, which is ironic because a lot of people always chirp like, "Oh, fucking, this person, they're just looking at the ground being a bozo." But a lot of people liked watching the grind for it, and it proved to be my most successful professionally and financially month, July, grinding mostly for Streets 154, and I got it in the 99th hour. It was just... there's few words to describe what it feels like to hit an untied world record. Like, in life, even, there's very few things that come close or compare to it, and I knew it was it, and it's like you almost want to start crying because of how amazing it is.
Come on!
And I'm sure
Come on!
the reaction, it was pretty great.
Yeah!
Yeah, and it was going to be a 100-hour time, and it came like right down to the bottom.
Yeah, that was kind of the first minute you predicted it was going to take 100 hours, and it took... Oh man, I see that 154 come up. It just looks beautiful. It looks like... I imagine me looking at 154 is how, mothers look at their newborn children. It just puts a smile on my face. But yeah, it was funny how you predicted, Luke, that it would take exactly 100 hours. And it did. Man, that 154, I knew it was it. Even though rewatching the run now, it's not that insane. It's just like, it just is a clean 6-0 run with the 2.2 and Valstrafe, but that's all it needs. But that's a pretty tough challenge when it comes down to it. So
it is. When you get it first, that's the challenge. You were the first to go and get it.
Exactly, and I mean, it's the kind of record where you need to have an insane knowledge of Streets to get it. I think I kind of proved in 100 hours that you can't really fluke it. You can't get a lucky 10-0 run and fluke it. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it stay untied for like 5 years until someone really has to grind for it. I could also see Mark degenning it and getting it in like 10 hours, but that's Mark, and it completely depends on what he's going to do.
And Goose, what's with you getting all these insane times on the Elite Gaming channel? Do you think that it affects your play when you're playing on your own channel as opposed to that, or is it just kind of a coincidence that you got a bunch of records on the other channel and not your one with partner?
Well, that's the funny thing is, so Streets 154 was on Elite Gaming, although it was on a night when I was streaming to my main. And my viewers were jumping around crazily. It was kind of when hosting was fresh, so I thought I was getting botted, so I just switched over to Elite Gaming quickly, and just so happened that in those tests, I got 154 compared to 100 hours on my main channel. But yeah, the other records I got, I think Bunker 102 and Surface 102 on my alt, my third alt, and then just Depot 25, and... and Surface 148 were both on my main. I do think it affects it, obviously, because when I'm on my main, I have to entertain. I have to kind of... That's sort of my main priority, is not performing. It's more interacting with chat and being entertaining and putting on a good show. When I'm on an alt, my priorities go to playing well, and I know that if people are watching on the alts, odds are they know what they're watching. It's kind of like... if I go to a band's practice, or if I go to a sporting athlete or team's practice, I'm not expecting to be entertained. I'm just watching it for the raw talent and exhibition.
Good explanation. That was actually pretty cool. And then I was going to say, that last boost you had at the end of that run was like icing on the cake. You probably had it, like... Yeah, you had that easily without that boost, I'm sure. And then that was just like, oh, man... Then, not only did you get 154, it wasn't even like 0.95. It was like what, 0.6 something? I forget exactly what it was, but it was, you murdered that time.
It was the decimals out to 154.04, which is actually really funny because my lowest 155 was 55.04, and then if you factor in the final boost, Boosts, I mean, they can sort of take up almost a full second, but generally speaking, they're about 0.6. So really, it was like a 154.6 with 6.0. It was pretty insane.
All right. Whoops. Let's move on to August. All right, so I'll make like a 10-second mention of this. We had our Irrel Virginia meet, as everybody calls it. It's just the 8th year running. Congratulations to Mark Jones for taking down his first Mario Kart 64 championship there. I was going to talk about this more in depth, but I guess not. Nate Stinson had a 6-point lead after a couple of races against Jones and had a meltdown of epic proportions, and yours truly misses the finals for the first time since 07. Nobody cares, but I felt like I was obligated to mention that. All right, Lucas, if you're there, please comment on this. You're the man, the myth, the legend.
Oh, well, I moved house and I got a job, so I didn't want to play GoldenEye for a while, and I made a retirement post. I can't remember what day it was in August, but it was sort of probably early August. Then about a week into the job, I decided to play some Egypt for fun, and I got Egypt 45 in a couple days, and just didn't post it and decided to keep it a secret. And then I was just playing for fun, and I got 45 SA, and then I sort of decided to turn it into a bit of a horde, and then sort of decided maybe it would be good to get, past Brian, and then unhoard the times. So I made it a bit of a side project on the weekends, and yeah. Got a couple records. I got Surface 148 on SA, which had to get that after Phil got it. And another funny thing about this was that I was talking about hoarding and stuff probably a week before in lots of streams, saying like, oh, it's serious business to hoard world records, like you should probably be careful about doing it.
Yeah, because I know Trouble was thinking about doing that, hoarding a bunch of easy world records, but I don't know.
Yeah, and I told him you have to be actually disciplined to do it, like you can't just tell people, because he kept telling people. The only person who knew I was playing and hoarding was Phil, so I was sending Phil photos of the time screens, and he was always like, oh my god, cool. That's that.
It's pretty cool, and you're less than 30 points now from Mark, correct?
Yes, 29, I think.
And he's now asking in Twitch chat, when, if any time, are you going to pass him?
I'm going for a really hard time at the moment, so I might not be getting points for a while.
Oh. All right, and of course, shout-outs go out to Boss, previous champion, and probably he's the guy I strive to be like, a balanced times page, good proof. I post like him when I get records when they, few and far in between when they happen. The fact that he's 4th now is pretty insane. 5th place right now is pretty insane, but he's moved on to PD, but we will mention more of that later. Goose, if you're still around, you're up.
Up about what?
Your Bunker 102.
That was just absolutely insane. Like, I'd kind of gone through a time after 154 where I didn't know what to play, and I finally got Surface 102 Depot 25. And then the 3rd day in a row, I didn't really want to stream. I just started up my alt, trying to find a level that felt right. Bunker 100 did. And I don't even know, I don't understand how that happened. It just did. I knew it had a good shot at it, and I think my reaction in that video, I'm just laughing uncontrollably because it's so ridiculous.
This is one of my favorite runs and videos of all time, the live vid, because this is so much like me getting Cabins 101. Like, I tried to get 102 as an untied back in the day for so many hours, and then I came back to it years later and got it in 2 hours. It's the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember your grind for 102. Very, very similar. Bunker 1 Double Agent is sort of what I got known for in spring of 2013. I was grinding it. I put in about 150 hours back then, and that's kind of when some of the bigger names in the speedrun community noticed me, and when I started getting up into the 150-200 viewer range, I was going for that time. And then Ace got it before me, and it kind of broke my heart a bit. It's kind of like when you're trying to go after a woman and some other guy beats you to her. It really stings, and it takes a while to get over. But I came back to it this year. I tried for it for about 10 hours at some point in between, which racked up to about 160 hours. And then that 2-hour session where I got it was it. And yeah, it was just... I think I watched that run, and that run is like my masterpiece for sure.
Do you remember? Sorry, do you remember at the end of those runs, your heart rate or how nervous you were between 154 and 102? Which one was more nerve-wracking?
The funny thing is, neither of them were as nerve-wracking as, say, a Surface 1 148 or a Dam a 00 run. I used to get really nervous for Bunker 1 102 when I was grinding for it last year. At the pause, once you had a good Boris run and grenade and you paused at Boris, I would get really nervous. And for whatever reason, I was just kind of playing in the zone and kind of more loose, is how you put it. And I wasn't that nervous. I just wanted to complete the cameras, which I did. I was a tiny bit slow getting back to the mainframes, actually. I knew it had a shot. I knew I had a shot at getting some good boosts as well, the way the alarming timing went off. And I was a bit nervous, but certainly they wouldn't even be in the upper half of like most nervous world record moments for me.
Huh. Playing like a boss. Okay, and we're going to get to our last, I believe it's the last untied record that we're going to talk about here, is Ace's 134 Aztec SA, which took out Mark Ruzzo's famous 135 skipped armor run that he had back in June 2010. And that's a video I've got ready to go as well. So, without further ado.
Okay, so in a pretty decent 20-minute session, I got Aztec SA 134. It was a pretty good run, and I was expecting 133, but 134 is still pretty decent. I also used the agent strat with body armor. I kinda expected that strat to be used to get the next untied on Aztec SA. So this black run was pretty decent, and I got lucky with a super fast guard animation there. That's really good. Really nice guard lure. I knew this class had a pretty nice shot at opening, and I wasn't too nervous at this point because I had good health. Like, I just knew I had to clutch the ending, which is kinda easy to do with the body armor on this level. I had another run before this as well, which was I think 134 pace, where I used Hendrik's new strat. And I had full health at the guidance tier, which is pretty ridiculous, so I decided to skip the DA, but I died just before reaching the vents. It was a 110 death, like a second before reaching the vents. And it was like a 7-second death, so I think that was a 134 pace run. So it was pretty nice to get 134 about 10 minutes after a heartbreaker like that. I wasn't too nervous at the countdown, because I have 2 bars here, and I knew I could afford one more hit. So I was just desperate for the timer to end, because I was really wondering what time this would be, because it was my first good run with the agent strat. So I'm pretty happy with this time, and I'm glad I have another untied sweep. That's really good on this level, but I do think this time will get beaten eventually. I think a really good run with this strat would be 132 or 133, but I'm really happy with this time.
There you go. I kind of wish Phil was around. I mean, he is, but he's probably not paying attention. Shoutouts to him for being able to get a pair of 148s on Surface 1. Him and Goose were going for SA 148, kind of in a race, streaming together, and Goose was showcasing Phil's stream. Goose got 148 SA before Phil did, if I'm not mistaken, and then Phil beat him to 148 00.
No, Phil got 148 the day before Goose on SA, and Goose still doesn't have 148 00.
Okay, I knew that about 00. And that gave him a 300-point sweep on the level. Pretty cool stuff. And then, I don't have a vid for this. It's just a long vid I don't feel like showing. But Ace spent a million hours trying to tie train 00150, and then his grind for 149 was pretty epic because he had a bunch of dupes, and all of the posts he made in the fails topic and dupes topic were pretty insane. And, yeah, you guys can correct me, but didn't he have like 150 and 151 back to back, or two just insane completions back to back? You guys know what I'm talking about or no?
He had a pretty insane session where he was getting 150s like left, right, center. I can't remember if they were back to back, but yeah.
And then Mark Russo's 150 was posted back in January 2012, goes down to 149. And something Goose is fond of this time period. Ilari Pakala Ilu storms back onto the scene playing jungle. He gets jungle 0054 with a running Xenia strat, skipping 55 because 56 was his PB. If you go back to 2007 when he got SA54, skipping 55 directly from 56, getting it untied that way. And then later on, he would tie, finally, Jungle Secret Agent 53, which was the longest standing untied in GoldenEye history, which is pretty awesome. That goes back to June 2008.
Yeah, that's really awesome. I was so hyped to see that.
Yeah.
And he's using a new... Daniel, tell him about the new strat and stuff.
So Weister basically came into the chat, into Ilu's chat, during one of his sessions, and he basically started posting this video of a new strat where he basically throws a mine to the top drone at the top of the ladder, and this allows you to basically run past the drone as opposed to shooting the grenade launcher at the ground after taking a back boost. Because before you have to take the back boost or else you die, basically. So this basically skips a back and is about 0.4 faster than before. And with this strategy, that really helped him get 53 on SA. And conceivably, it could be used to get 53 on 00, but that would be madness, I guess, considering how hard it is to get a good run and live through it.
Would this conceivably help NTSC players be able to full speed the ending if they could skip the drone, that first one?
Yes, potentially, because what you could do is you probably won't have your grenade launcher shot like basically warp out, and it's easier to do full speed on the last drone that you shoot the grenade launcher.
Because as of now, no NTSC player has tried to grind out, say, like a 55-00 yet. Because 56 is the 00 NTSC record at the moment.
It's conceivable, I think so. I think it's doable.
Be cool to try out.
And so now with Ilu tying that, the longest standing untied in GoldenEye now is Clemens Bunker 2 SA44. And it'll take almost 2.5 years to pass Ace's Jungle Secret Agent as the longest of all time.
Wow.
So it's about, I think it's like 800 days behind. I was looking at it earlier. So we'll see if anybody tries to get that in the next 2.5 years, but...
44 is hectic. It's hard to tell who will tie that, if anyone.
Goose, if you're still around... If you're still around, Goose, next up is Air Force One, and you getting 53.
That's... yeah, man. Yeah, it was just like kind of all August I had intended. I mean, for months I kind of like set out what I thought was going to be my stream schedule for the summertime in the next little while. And I thought that in August I was going to play Perfect Dark and really try to get some world records and try to climb the rankings and whatnot. But for whatever reason, you know, GoldenEye was calling my name and I got into it and did really well there. So I kind of had to put Perfect Dark on the shelf, but, I mean, some people can perform under pressure and are clutch, and others aren't. And we got within, like, 5 days of the year without rain, and I was just like, I gotta get this time. And, yeah, man, I did. It didn't take that long, less than 20 hours. It probably took me, like, 40 hours to get 54 from scratch last summer. And I hadn't played Perfect Dark in a year, but yeah, after kind of learning the new strategy and figuring things out, it wasn't too bad. And funnily enough, that was on my alt account as well when I streamed that, so there you go.
Cool. And that, as predicted by Goose, would shift some of the power from GoldenEye over to Perfect Dark. Because he's a pioneer.
yeah, we've seen now Carl and Boss get world records there, which I'm sure we'll get into in a second. But yeah, I mean, we'll see if that continues. It seems like Boss and Carl both are continuing to play Perfect Dark. If it weren't for the GoldenEye Fantasy League, maybe I would still be as well, but I can certainly see there being a wave of Perfect Dark in the future.
All right, moving on to September. Not a lot of things. There's some random thoughts put in here. As already mentioned by Goose, PD has seen some new breath as Boss and Carl each post a pair of Chicago records, those being Special Agent 26 and Perfect Agent 27. And right now, Perfect Agent 26 is in the works. By what I mentioned 2 players, those 2 being Boss and Clemens. They each want that untied, so that will be awesome to see if that record happens. Carl goes and ties Ilu's untied of Investigation Agent 105, which is that ridiculous frame-perfect double laser skip strat that was executed back in May 20th, 2012, actually. So that's pretty cool, and that didn't seem to take Carl that long. He's just like, oh, I'm gonna play Investigation, and I think he got like 108, 106, and then 105. So that's pretty sick.
I remember he came into Mumble, and he's just like, I totally figure out these lasers. I am one with the lasers, basically. He seemed to really just click in his head exactly how to do it. So, I mean, he might even go for 104. He said he was thinking of it, but it's a pretty insane thing for him to do. So, I'm not sure.
I think he's going to play. Yeah, he's going to play Special Agent first, and he's going to try and untie that.
I'm going to do these.
Back to Agent.
I'm going to do these a little out of order. Jimmy Bauer just has gone on a bender lately. He returns, and I air quote that in the background, I guess, to post 5 world records, and then 2 more incredible PRs of Control 00409, which off the top of my head I think was a 14-second PR. I think he had 423 before that. And then Depot 0048, which was it was a 97-point time, and only Boss has it, and it breaks my heart. And he is very, very close to passing Goose for 7th place, and I think based on Goose's posting on the boards, he's pretty much conceded it at this point. So, any comments there, Goose, or not really? The dude's crazy. He's so good. His strafing is so silky smooth, man.
Hold on, I'm on a run.
Oh, sorry.
Give it 445 podcast.
Run strat.
Good first death. Best first death.
47 quit, missed 3rd Baron. But anyways, I think Jimmy is going to pass me for sure. I don't think that's going to be the end of it. I don't know what his ceiling is. Jimmy's been very slow and steady throughout his entire career, really. So I think he'll just continue to PR and world record for many years to come. So in order to pass him back, I would just have to really grind hard and grind for points as opposed to records. I've kind of more focused on getting cool records and whatnot. But yeah, no, Jimmy can go. He can just go. There's no real telling where the limit is for him. He's a very, very talented player. Something like Control 00409, which is above everyone other than the top 3, obviously shows just how good he is.
I think Boss has 408, so yeah, it's close to...
Still sick. And wanted to make a shout out to Mouser and Ryan Cook, who come back from the dead, so to speak, to post a few records. Mouser posted Egypt 45, as well as a pair of Streets 155, and then Cook, he posted Archives SA 54. Didn't really talk much about it, just posted it and kind of left.
And shout outs to Daniel for his Egypt 45 as well.
Yes, we were going to mention that there. Any comments on that, Wodas, or not really?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I was always wanting to improve my Egypt time because I want to get over 1,800 Egypt points. So, I'll learn the level. So I started playing it, and I was getting trolled with bad Barons on 46 bases. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go all out, and I learned 2.2 with crouching strat because I couldn't do it with keyboard. And I said, I'm just going to go for 45. And with that mindset, I started getting really fast paces, super fast. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to try to beat Goose to it. And I basically, I did that eventually. It took me probably longer than Goose was playing for it, but I don't know. I just feel like it was a good time. But it was funny because Mouser was I don't know. I guess he got into it when he was watching me stream, and then he, like the next day he posted in my chat while I was going for it that he got it, and it was pretty insane. So yeah, Mouser just picked that up like out of nowhere, really.
That's pretty awesome, man. That's good stuff. It really is.
Yeah.
I guess I'll cover this one. Yeah, so I got a pair of Streets 155s. I was the last one to get 155 SA as the record before Goose goes and destroys it with 154. I got a pair of 149s on Surface 1 as well. That's only relevant because the gap from top 10 to 11th place is very, very near 200 points now, and that's my goal. My goal is to pass Ilari, and I'm only going after records at the moment. But if I can pass him, the gap is going to be closer to like 230 points. And I think it's really cool to see the gap widen. It just kind of it segregates the top players, if you want to throw me in that group, with kind of the rest of the world, so to speak. So it'd be cool to see, like, okay, so you get to 11th, which is where ISA is. It's like, okay, now you got to work your ass off to get to the top 10. So that's what I want, is to like make barrier to entry very, very difficult. And then last but not least, we are going to cover a topic, something very new, especially to the elite, as old as we are. It's this fantasy GoldenEye thing, which is an idea that was actually come up with by Eric Bond, who stocks in bonds. A note about him is that he posted quite a few records. His best one probably being Depot SA40, which is crazy. Crazy. It was an untied record by Ace. As if you want to be technical, Monteith and Henning both claimed to have gotten it, but they were both banned, so that's irrel. So it was an Ace and Eric Bond only time, which is pretty cool. Anyway, so he comes up with this idea of fantasy GoldenEye, and the whole idea is that these managers would draft players, kind of like fantasy football if you guys have ever played it, and the points accumulated by the players would go towards your overall total, and then after a certain period of time, whoever had the highest point total by their players would win. And what I'm going to do is show off the chart, the tiers, the points, and the teams, and Come As You Are is going to kind of explain more, or at least some of the stuff I missed here. So I'm going to...
Yeah, so this is a great idea by Eric, and we had bounced this idea around in different forms, years and years ago in the Elite chat room. We had talked about something similar to this, but it never really came to fruition. So props to Eric for really organizing it and coming up with a great idea here. Basically, and Cosmo said this in his chat the other night, it gives a really great incentive to new players to play. They really feel like they're making a difference to something because they're affecting a team, and they can kind of work together with their other teammates and their team owners. It looks a little bit better for them that they're getting points for a small team than they're getting 10 points on the rankings and they're still in 300th place or whatever. So basically, we had a live draft on Mumble, which is kind of cool to watch. You could see it on Eric's Twitch stream. But it was pretty fun. We had all the team owners there. We did just a standard snake draft like you would for fantasy football or any other sport. And the scoring is based on how many points a player gains, not how many points the PR is worth. So there's different strategies that some people took. We also added bonus points for world records. So some people took players that don't have any world records that they think have potential to get them, because they feel like those players will be able to get more points from those records, and they'll get more points overall if they're a little bit lower ranked. There's also some players that got taken, like Ace got taken because he has potential for untied records, which are worth 200 points, which is a fairly large amount for us. So, it's kind of cool to see the different strategies play out. And it's nice. It's just getting a lot more people active GoldenEye. I think there were like 8 people streaming GoldenEye last night, which I don't think there's ever been that many. I wouldn't be surprised if there's more and more. I know we're only 6 or 7 days into this, but you're really seeing a lot of the new players join and feel really interested in the game because they're making a difference to a team. So I don't know what else. If Daniel, you want to say anything about that? I know you're your team is in the lead right now.
Yes.
So you might be able to expand on that a little bit more.
Let me give some background as to Team Zerda, I guess, because basically, Cosmo posts in this Fantasy GoldenEye. Okay, first, the Fantasy GoldenEye League is ideas posted in the forums. I go check it out, and I'm really excited about it. I said it's a great idea, but I would rather be like a sideline watcher or something like that, just player. Because I don't know, I didn't want to really make a team and like try to favor over players and stuff like that. But then Cosmo posted this idea for kind of as a joke of a bunch of Zelda players as a team. And I totally loved the idea. And I totally said, okay, I'll be a manager for this team. And I think it's a great idea because, the Zelda community gets a lot more viewers than the GoldenEye community, first of all. So by tapping into those players, we're exposing the Elite to a bigger audience. And we're actually getting more interest in the game. Not only through like that community, but also just by having this competition going on, it's generating interest in like the newer players, and it's just like inviting people to play, which is really phenomenal. And the reason why I would say we're in first is, needless to say, Cosmo Wright really just went insane with this league. He's starting to really want to play, and he's getting good times. And I tried to make as many good picks for other players who have a lot of potential, and I think that is the reason why we're ahead so far. Is Cosmo and a bunch of other really high potential players who are able to play well. But it's so early on, we don't know what's going on. Like there's a lot of other already like high potential players on other teams. It's anyone's game at this point, but it's just really cool to see.
And speaking towards that also, Cosmo, he's one of the top streamers on Twitch, regardless of what he plays, whether he plays Zelda or GoldenEye or Castlevania or any other game. And what's really been nice is, as he's getting into the GoldenEye community, he's been hosting other GoldenEye streamers, which getting the exposure for people that normally don't get it. I know he hosted Jimbo and Wotus and maybe some others, I'm not sure. But, getting those people 1,000 viewers when they're normally at 30 or 40 is, it's nice to expand our community out and, show that, the skill that it takes to get some of these times. So, Goose might want to say more about that since he's also has a lot of viewers all the time. So, if he's still here.
Well, I mean, I think the first thing I gotta say is how insane Cosmo's records are. Like the stuff he got: Caverns 103, Streets 114, Bunker 118, Depot 26. Like 3 of those, when I first joined, were world records still, and there are times that took me from scratch maybe 20 plus hours, plus a lot of other playing of the game. And Cosmo got them all within like 2 or 3 hours from scratch. I mean, I think that goes to show that he's not just popular by fluke or anything, but he's like truly a talented, prodigious speedrunner who can pretty much play anything and do anything really well. I mean, we'll see where the sky's the limit with this as well. I mean, it seems to be going well. A lot of speedrunners who aren't involved with GoldenEye normally starting to get involved, like guys like Maltov, for instance. Even runner guys shown some interest. So these are popular guys who have an interest in playing GoldenEye really just because of this. Another thing to note is, because I'd play and get 500,000 viewers, or Cosmo would play or whatever, you'd often see GoldenEye with a lot of viewers, which was cool. Often see it with more viewers than Super Mario 64 or Ocarina of Time. But what you wouldn't see is when you clicked on those games on Twitch, is many channels broadcasting those games. You'd normally only see me or whoever else is streaming it, usually only 1 or 2 channels. If you clicked on Mario 64 or Ocarina of Time, oftentimes you'd see the popular guys and you'd see 8 or 10 other people playing that game. So hopefully GoldenEye can get more popular that way, in that there will be more people streaming it on Twitch, and kind of the overall awareness of the game will get greater. You're still going to have a few select people who are more popular than others, but having a lot of people play, a lot of channels to choose from, I mean, that's always a good thing.
Yeah, and I just want to give a quick shout out to Thingy, who helped out with the spreadsheet. We're having a few kinks in it right now, but we have it set up so everything is automatically updated and pulled from the rankings, which is awesome, so we can have live scoring on this. Before, Eric and I were updating it by hand, so it's really helpful to have it all updating live when it works. We're still working on a few kinks, like I said. But yeah, the league, it's 6 days in, and we're seeing a ton of activity in the game right now. I think we've probably had more PRs in September already than we had in a lot of months in the past couple of years. So it's really nice to see that. We'll see if that lasts. The league goes through November 30th. I know we talked earlier about maybe taking a month off after the league is over and then redoing it with another draft. And yeah, we did talk about Fantasy Perfect Dark. I don't know if there's enough activity there yet to have more than one person per team. But it's a good idea that might come to fruition at some point.
Yeah, I think the thing about activity, though, is that having this creates activity. Like, I would not be playing GoldenEye right now if Wotus didn't draft me on Team Zelda, and I think a few other guys wouldn't be really playing either. So even if you just held a draft in Perfect Dark and just drafted people who had no intention of playing, I think that mere act would get them to play in many cases and create a lot more activity over there.
Yeah, people are saying in the Twitch chat right now, there's a lot of good coaching going on. I know Wotus has been great at that with his team, teaching Asher and Cosmo and other players how to play some of these levels. So it does promote a lot of activity and a lot of community together with people sharing their knowledge.
Yeah, I feel like coaching is one of the biggest things I feel like that can be gained out of this, because a lot of newer players, they don't necessarily see attention from the better players, because sometimes a better player will just lurk and not necessarily interact too much, but now there's incentive for these team owners to basically interact with their teammates, basically. I mean, I personally like everyone out, but I mean, yeah, it's to see that with this league.
We might need to end this podcast here so Wotus can go get my team some points. All
right. Yeah, that's all we got. That covers just about everything, guys. If there's any last comments by Luke, who was relatively quiet throughout the whole bunch there.
Oh, no, I think it's an excellent idea. I haven't been so active in Twitch during the weekdays. I sort of pop in on my breaks. But no, I love it. It's going really well. And I think, good podcast.
I will say that if there was a PD draft, I would snap play. I really would. That I would personally be very, very interested in playing. I could see how Cosmo was drawn in by this for GoldenEye. I would do the same thing for PD.
The Jimbo ISA PD rivalry.
Oh,
could be pretty strong.
I'd play PD just to get top 20 in like 2 months or something.
All I would need is top 23, and I could be sub 3 hours, so that would be another incentive. But I think the draft would be that would be enough for me to really hammer out that game. Anyway, we are at the 1 hour and 3 minute mark, which is right where I want to be, right at about the hour mark. So we're going to wrap this up. It's been a great podcast, guys. There's a hell of a lot of content to cover in the last 2.5 months or so. Hopefully try to do this monthly. If not, whatever, we'll just catch up on whenever we decide to do this again. I appreciate you guys stopping in. Appreciate all the viewers, 46 of them, which is awesome. I guess not much else to say. This Fantasy League ends November 1st, correct?
November 30th.
November 30th.
Give a shout out to the AGDQ stuff, maybe. We got through GoldenEye's through the first round.
You do that. You're more updated than I am.
Oh, well, there's been 6 or 7 of us who have put our applications into the AGDQ 2015 for the agent race, which is pretty damn hype. That's myself, White Goose, who else? Jim's put one in, Alex has,
Boss.
Lockwood, Boss, Daniel, and I think that's it. So yeah, if the race happens, it's going to be absolutely awesome. So let's fingers crossed that we get through the next round of cuts. Oh, and Boss applied for Perfect Dark Agent, which is going to be sick if that gets through as well.
Cool. Hype for AGDQ. All right. We'll go ahead and wrap this one up and maybe try to do 1 or 2 podcasts before the Fantasy League ends, and we'll talk about that December 1st for sure. All right.
And, everybody should go watch Taylor Tot on Twitch right now.
What's the link?
I'll post it in the Twitch chat.
Okay.
So let's go give him a view after the podcast.
Oh, he's on my team. I should help him get 53.
He's on my team.
Yeah, Taylor's a Shooty Beam.
I'm on Shooty Beams.
Yeah.
www.twitch.tv/Taylor, TAYLOR, TOT, TOTFTW for the win. Click that. Give him a view, give him a follow, and we'll see you guys next time. Good podcast. We'll see you.